Hi, friends. Welcome back to the High Vibration Living Podcast. I'm your host, Chef Whitney Aronoff, founder of Starseed Kitchen and High Vibration Foods. And I wanted to do a solo episode because I feel like it's been a while since I connected and was able to chat directly to you guys. So I thought right before the beginning of summer would be the perfect time to connect. And I just want to say like a big thank you to everyone who tunes into the podcast, for those that follow me on Instagram and comment on posts and send me DMs with questions. I really deeply appreciate it. I started this podcast because I wanted to have a place where I could share all the connections that I have made in my life that have helped me kind of upgrade and integrate different layers of myself. I found with all my gut issues, all my health issues in high school, in my 20s, in my 30s, it took me so much money, so much time, and so many different people that I had to go through in order to find the actual people that could help me. And it was never just about the food. It was never just about talk therapy. It was never just about spiritual work. There were so many layers that I had to let go of in order to regain great health. Also, just so many cleanses I needed to go on, and, general detoxes, time in nature, sweating. Felt like it went on and on. It took so many years, and then you get healthy and you feel your best, and then something else comes along. It's all a part of the journey and the experience, in this human body. But I just felt like I didn't want anybody else to ever have to physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually suffer. There's a solution to absolutely everything out there. And if there's one thing that I've learned from all of my podcast guests, is there is a solution to everything. You can heal absolutely everything that comes your way. If it exists on this planet in a negative modality, there is a positive modality to balance it out and to wipe it out. So at any point, wherever you are with your health and well-being, there is a way to move through it and go past it and move beyond it and put it in your past. So that's what I try to do here with the podcast, is connect you to and bring you to the people that might have the insight that you can apply to take you to your next step. And it's the beginning of summer. So June 21st is the summer solstice. Such a great time to manifest. Last week, I had Alyssa Gustad on the podcast. I highly suggest you listen to that episode. Alyssa works with Dr. Michael Joseph Lovery, who is one of the great spiritual masters of our time. She works hand in hand with him, has for many years, has written books with him. You'll find her photo in many of his books as well. So we talk about the summer solstice and this manifestation time. Whether you want to believe in it or not, it's happening. So you have the opportunity to set intentions that will then come to fruition by the winter solstice. And part of setting the intention is just like getting really clear on what you want to do, or who you want to be, or how you want to evolve your life. And then constantly setting reminders. So you check in with yourself between now and the winter solstice, so you make it happen. So you set the intention, you put the energy in motion, then you're going to have to go through and execute. But by setting the intention, the universe will start to conspire in your favor. So I'll give you an example of that. So in the morning when I get up, I use the 5-minute journal. I love the 5-minute journal. It really helps me have intentions with my day and remember what I should be grateful for. And it literally takes 5 minutes or less. And it's brought a lot of joy to my life. I got the 5-minute journal by attending the Goop conference in LA in 2019. And ever since then, I've really enjoyed it. And so I just buy a new one every year on Amazon. And it's in my Amazon shop if you want to find exactly what I'm referring to. And in the morning, I just fill in the prompts. And in the evening before bed, I fill in the prompts. And oftentimes when it's prompting you, like, what are your goals for the day? What would you like to call in for the day? Sometimes I just say I want to experience synchronicities. I want to experience magic. I just want to experience like joy and happiness and flow and ease and grace. Just little glimmers of like magic in my life. happiness, to be surprised and delighted. So I bring that back to manifestation in the summer solstice. If you don't name it, you can't claim it. So I can't spend my life wanting these little or big things to happen if I never put it out there. And this is the opportunity for you to put it out there. Get really clear on what you want. The other day, I met with this woman named Esther out here in the Laguna Woods area. Esther is in charge of a local chapter of a global healing group called the Circle of Friends, also known as the nonprofit surrounding Bruno Growing, who was a very famous healer at the end of World War II in Germany. There's incredible healers all over the world, past and present, and we'll never really know who they were or all their powers until usually after they pass. Bruno Growing is one of them. And when he died and they did the autopsy on him, they found 3 organs in his neck that have never been found in another human body ever since. And he was known as just an incredible hands-on healer and a remote healer, and really taught people how to pull light back in their body and recharge. Just like how we see cats and dogs go and lay in the sunny spot in the house. They're soaking in the light and recharging. He worked to teach people how to do that themselves so they can be their own healers. And there is an organization called the Circle of Friends, which is a nonprofit meditation organization that teaches you essentially how to do that. There's so many different meditation options out there, so it's kind of endless in finding what works for you. I learned about it when Dr. Scott Robinson came on the podcast this year. He and I did 2 episodes together at the beginning of the year, and I highly suggest you guys tune into those as well. He's an incredible healer himself, a former chiropractor, functional medicine practitioner, and he had 3 near-death experiences, and each near-death experience made him more and more psychic and a more and more powerful hands-on healer, which he was then able to apply with his chiropractic background to be a better healer for people and to work with a lot of frequency machines to help them, get rid of what's not serving them and to optimize their body. He is who introduced me to Bruno Growing because ironically, Bruno and I have the same birthday. So he just thought that type of meditation would be really supportive for me because as a chef, I give so much of my energy away through my hands and through my work going into different people's homes and doing parties and events that I often struggle to fill myself back up with light. It's easy for me to get depleted. And so I often turn to other healers to help me fill back up. But we ultimately have to learn to be our own healers. So I met with Esther the other day and we were sharing some information. She was giving me some more information so I can do this meditation work more easily and get more of the energy from the Circle of Friends and Bruno Growing. And she reminded me just how important it is to claim what you want in life. That you can't attract what you want and what you need unless you say it out loud, unless you let the universe know. And I started crying because I realized that I've been holding back for a majority of my life, scared to name and claim the things that I do deeply really want. So I hope this episode is just simply a reminder to you as we approach June 21st to name what you want. It can just be one thing. It can be 3 things. It doesn't have to be stuff. You don't have to say, you want a new car, you want a home, you want some clothes, a book, a piece of jewelry. It can be an experience. It could be a trip. It could be a connection with a certain person or a variety of people. It could be a career opportunity. What do you want a bigger experience of? So that brings me to Andrea Wright, who I had on the podcast earlier this year. If you are on Instagram, you might know her as the Crystal Situation. I had her on to talk about crystals in the kitchen, crystals in the house, kind of optimizing the energy in your home and your space. And what she kind of kept reiterating to me is, what do you want a bigger experience of? Like, we get this human body and these placements once, right? So where you grew up, where you're currently living, who you physically are in this moment, you kind of get this opportunity once. So in the here and now, what do you want a bigger experience of? Think about that, get clear, and just write it down for the summer solstice. Write it down the week of the summer solstice, because the energy is building all week long for you. It's building now as we speak. So starting the week of June 17th, it is building up until Friday, June 21st, the first day of summer, the longest day of the year, the day where there is the absolute most sunlight on the planet. And this time of year, June and July, is also the time when we are solar panels. We need to get outside. We need to fill our body up with that light. And that's going to fuel us as we then move back into the fall and the winter. So it's really all connected. All these seasons are so divinely created. This is the season to soak up the light, to get outside, to play, to dream. And then come the fall and then into the winter, we'll go back inside, we'll hibernate, we'll marinate, we'll relax in, we'll quiet, we'll become more introverted. But now is the time to get outside and play and dream and manifest. So I got on this tangent just because I wanted to fill you guys up with some updates, what's been on my mind, what I've been working on. And one of those is more opportunities to play in person with you guys, should you live in the Orange County area or Los Angeles or San Diego. Alyssa Gastad, like I mentioned, who was on the podcast last week, she and I are going to be at the Ecology Center in San Juan Capistrano, a 28-acre regenerative farm. On Wednesday, June 19th, we'll be teaching a cooking class from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., using all ingredients from the farm. So you guys have that incredible kind of farm to table experience. We cook outside over fire, and then we'll use that fire that we cooked and prepared our food with to do some manifestation work. And then what we'll also do is Alyssa will talk to us more about how we can activate our hands and how we can move the energy from our heart into our arms and into our hands and use it as a tool to send love into our meals and send love and energy into the food that we prepare for others, which is so important if you're a mother or a father or cooking for anybody that you love, or if you're cooking for somebody whose health is not at the optimal place right now. You can do more than just prepare food. You can put light and intention for healing into that food, and that's a very powerful modality. I also had my farm to table dinner at the Ecology Center earlier in May, and I'm working on an ebook for you guys so you can recreate those recipes at home and be able to have some fun dinner parties this summer where you can have some of the like-minded recipes yourself. Other things that I have coming up is hopefully fingers, toes, everything's crossed. I've asked all the deities in this matrix that sometime this summer, our Starseed Kitchen adobo spice will be on the shelves at Erewhon, and that'll be really exciting to both have 11 magic herbs and spices and adobo at Erewhon for anyone that's walking through their doors up in Los Angeles. There's 10 locations of Erewhon right now in LA. They are opening an 11th in Glendale, and word on the street is that they'll be opening one sometime this year or next in Orange County. Back in 2019, I was actually working on opening a restaurant space in Laguna Beach, and the real estate agent that we were working with was working with Erewhon at the time to find a space in Orange County. And clearly they didn't find one back in 2019 or 2020. But I have heard from some other people in town that they are still actively looking for the right spot in Orange County. So I anticipate that's going to come real soon. So hopefully I'm sending you guys the right scoop, but I think I am. Other things that are going on is I'm really working on expanding our guest list for the High Vibration Living podcast over the next few months, bringing in more experts so we can really dive deep onto topics and leaning more back into culinary topics to help you guys learn how to feel your body. In the coming weeks, I have Stephanie Alexander coming on. You guys are, if you shop at Whole Foods, if you shop at Mother's, a lot of grocery stores these days, you might be familiar with the Alexander label. They do A2 milk, they do eggs, they do butter, they do sour cream. They are a family farm up in Northern California. And so I'm having her on to talk about dairy, what we're supposed to be looking for these days. I have Andrea Crowder coming on to talk about creating abundance. I have Anna Grace Newell coming on to talk about the Akashic Records, which is going to be really great. I was on her podcast recently and I had such a wonderful time chatting with her. And I haven't had anyone on the podcast talking about the Akashic Records, the Galactic Library, so to say. So she's going to be on. I have Tatiana Fogut on talking about kind of bedside tools, like what are the things that we should be keeping in our bedroom, next to our bed, manifestation practices, kind of setting the tone when we first wake up, when we first go to sleep. That'll be a fun episode. I have Palak Dave coming on where we're talking about just the basic guidebook to living in the here and now and being present. And then I have a good friend and nutritionist, Katie DeLauro, coming on, and we're going to talk about just the basics of a healthy diet and better understanding the myths of food pyramids here in the US and across the globe. And if you're a little overwhelmed with making edits in your diet, we're going to start with the basics from a true health supportive nutritionist standpoint. I think there's a lot of different belief systems about food out there right now. A lot of talk about just cutting whole food groups, and it all just needs to be demystified so it's easier for you guys to understand and choose real whole foods, know what that means, be able to read labels, and just be able to make a meal. You know, I think a lot of people don't even know how to approach making breakfast, lunch, or dinner at this point. And that's when they'll just often lean towards fast food or something that's convenient or something that they can microwave. And you deserve better. Your body deserves better. Your soul deserves better. Your food is fuel for your physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental body. You know, that's why I'm a huge fan of the Weston A. Price Foundation, because I love the studies that they've done where they've changed children's diets in school and they perform better in school. They get better scores on their tests. They behave better in the classroom. They're less, you know, all over the place. They're able to focus on something that the teacher is sharing with them. Parents have better connections with their children when their diets have improved. A huge fan of the Weston A. Price Foundation. And you should definitely look at Sally Fallon Morell's books about how to feed kids and how to feed yourself. Those are great books. You can find them on Amazon. I have them in my storefront under books. But Sally Fallon Morell is the president of the Weston A. Price Foundation. I first learned about this foundation when I was in culinary school. It's life-changing. It simplifies everything. And that's how I really connected with Stephanie Alexander, who's going to be coming on talking about A2 milk. Is she as well is a huge fan of the Weston A. Price Foundation. It's a great connector of like-minded people who understand the value of food made from scratch, real whole foods, traditional foods, ancestral foods, and how that's supporting every aspect of who we are and ourselves, and bringing joy back into eating, because food should be fun, eating should be fun, cooking should be fun. It's a pleasurable activity that we get to indulge in 3 times a day. It's part of the human experience, and it shouldn't be miserable. It should be fun and delicious. And I think the Weston A. Price Foundation does a really good job of reminding us of that and getting rid of food fear. I think that's really, really important. So some great episodes coming up this summer, more than I'm planning for the fall. And those are all my updates for now, guys. Just nice, sweet, to the point. And I'm wishing you guys a beautiful summer solstice. Get clear on what you want. Just keep asking yourself, what do you want a bigger experience of? I just love that line from Andrea Wright. I think I might post it around my house. What do you want a bigger experience of? And I think you'll end up leaning into like exactly what life is all about. It's like the emotions. Like, what do you want to feel more of every day? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? How do you want to play? So that is what I'm keeping in mind as I plan for the summer solstice. When you listen to that episode with Alyssa, she reminds you that when you write these intentions down, these manifestations down, remember to write them as they've already happened. So don't write them as wishes and wants. The wish and want has already been granted. So you can just write, thank you for the experience of. Thank you for the experience of. Thank you for this in my life. Or you can go to I am. So you already are embodying that for which you've asked for. I am healthy. I am vibrant. I am revitalized. I'm rejuvenated. So I hope that helps. That's the whole purpose of the High Vibration Living podcast, is to connect with you and uplift you and provide you tools to continue to move forward for your greatest and highest good. And that's all I have for you guys today. I love you, and I look forward to connecting with you guys again soon. And if you have any particular topics that you would like for me to talk about, address, culinary questions that you want me to answer, start DMing me on Instagram, and I will add them to the list for my next solo episode. Thanks so much. Bye.